How gymnasts build muscle but you don't. If your goal is to achieve an athletic, shredded physique like gymnasts have, you can learn a lot from their training, that's for sure. Especially because there is a way that they build muscle, but many people most likely never use that. And in this video, we're gonna take a look how, so you won't miss out. So, the extra stimulus and way to build muscle as gymnasts do, and this would help your gains as well, is the isometric exercises. Before you start commenting, watch the entire video. As I've already talked about in my previous videos, gymnastics training is really complex. We can say that, for example, for the reason that it even includes isometric exercises. This is mainly because of the characteristic of the sport itself, since gymnasts, especially on the rings, do isometric strength elements in their routines, so to train specifically for these with static holds is crucial. As I mentioned earlier, most isometric exercises in gymnastics are done with straight arms. Are they effective? Yes. Ring specialist gymnasts are the living examples. In their training, isometric holds are massively used. That's the reason I talked about the effects of this type of training in my video about the huge gymnast biceps. Not to mention that many studies proved the effectiveness of isometric training. But this doesn't mean that isometric exercises are the most effective for muscle building. Actually, it's the complete opposite. In resistance training, we distinguish three types of muscle actions. The concentric contraction, when the muscle is contracting and shortening. The eccentric contraction, when the muscle is contracting and its length extends. And the isometric contraction, when the muscle is contracting but doesn't change its length. Now, this is how the effectiveness of these contractions look like in terms of muscle building. First, eccentric contraction. Second, concentric contraction. And third, isometric contraction. What? So are isometrics good or bad? As you see, definitely not the best for muscle building, but a different kind of stimulus, and this is what I'd like to highlight now. This is an existing muscle contraction. It creates tension in the muscle, it can be a huge load and stimulus, it matters. The first and most important question, whether you use it or not. If you use it, it can be a great addition to your workouts and gains. If not, you'll miss out the possible benefits. Isometrics can build muscle along with all the other contractions, especially if you get the right load. And once again, gymnasts are the best example that isometrics work, and if you use them, again, along with all the other type of contractions, you can expect the same results as gymnasts do. My students and my own experience can only support this. Doing isometrics have many benefits. Let's start with the fact that these exercises help to feel and learn to activate a given muscle or muscles, so one of the benefits is building neuromuscular connection. Thanks to that, it helps to overcome weak points as well. A simple example for this is to do isometric holds for pull-ups in the lower, upper endpoint and in the middle. With the active and bent arm hanging positions, you can build up the neuromuscular connection and learn how to engage the muscles thanks to the isometric hold. Of course, you can learn the pull-ups without these as well, but this is a great addition and something it's worth to keep in mind if you have weaknesses. Furthermore, it can be combined with the eccentric method perfectly, so you can use the best from each to improve your pull-ups faster. So you can do isometric hold on the top and then slowly descend and even stop for a bit halfway as well. Here I need to highlight that isometric holds improve strength in different joint angles really specifically. So the strength you build will be limited in that specific angle, plus minus a few degrees. This is true for any static elements, that's why you need to build them up gradually with progressions. So for example in the planche, as you get closer to the final progressions, your shoulder angle changes, so it doesn't matter how well you can hold the tuck planche, you need to get stronger in the straddle and full versions as well. Of course it has transfer effects, but you must build the strength and muscle in that specific angle. This is why progressions are important, whether it's a dynamic or static progression. However, based on the principle of specificity, you'll need to use static progressions for sure. Another benefit of the isometric contraction that it's less damaging for the muscle fibers compared to the concentric and especially the eccentric contractions. This is part of the reason why it's not that effective in case of muscle building. However, even if it's less damaging for the muscle fibers, in terms of straight arm skills, I have to mention that those are not easy on the connective tissues. I already talked about that before. So preparation and gradation are really important, so once you build up the tissues well, you can actually increase the frequency a bit and enjoy the less damaging muscle effect. But this is mostly important for the straight arm exercises, since those hit harder on the joints and tissues. In terms of the previous examples, pull-up holds, etc., you're good to go. However, a general preparation is always recommended. So as you see, the isometric contraction has its place. You can utilize it on several levels. It has its benefits, and in terms of muscle building, the real question is whether you take advantage of it by simply using it or not. I'd like to emphasize again that in gymnastics, the key and the secret is that they actually use all the muscle actions I mentioned during their training and routines. Ring specialists benefit the most of isometrics as they do really high intensity holds with maximal contraction, often with a great muscle stretch, which is a really effective muscle builder. This is what I've already talked about in the straight arm strength video. The planche, iron cross, multis, etc. are the most intensive and spectacular, not only in general, but in terms of how much the muscles are under tension. But of course, if we talk about isometric exercises, it's not only about the high-end strength skills. You can take advantage of it on many levels, as I said, in the prehab work, skills, strength training, and even in stretching. But since we talk about muscle building now, let me tell you how you can take advantage of this muscle contraction based on the gymnastics method system by hitting more at once. The first area where you can use isometric exercises is in the skill block of your training, or even it can be a separate session as well. In gymnastics, calisthenics or street workouts, if you train to achieve a skill, you'll need to work with isometric exercises, and this is the time to do that, which takes place in the beginning of the training session after the general warm-up and prehab. This includes all the static skills, even if it's straight arm or bent arm. In my experience, this actually brings back fun into training for many. It's challenging, besides giving your muscles a new stimulus. In this skill training, you can practice L-sits, shoulder stand, handstand, elbow lever, back lever, front lever, planche, human flag, etc., which is really fun and, as I said, a totally different stimulus to your muscles. Of course, these all have dynamic progressions as well, but if you want to learn the final progressions, you can't miss the static holds. Here, we have certain progressions, especially in the beginning, that you need to hold for even 20 to 30 seconds. This also gives a great time under tension and makes your muscles stronger and grow. Another great way to practice these skills is to combine them into a routine and connect them. This is also how you can achieve great time under tension with isometric holds. Basically, this is what gymnasts also do during their routines. So this is a unique, effective, and fun way to utilize isometric contraction in your workouts, where you not only give your muscles a different stimulus, but you get stronger and learn spectacular skills. Another big area where you can take advantage of the isometric holds is in your reps and sets training, where you can modify the execution of the exercises. This is something that you might use earlier, for example, like you hold the last rep of your pull-ups, or even just do the hold itself. You can also do paused reps, where you hold the reps at the end point, halfway, or both for a moment, or even a few seconds. Alright, so this is a main feature of gymnastics training that gives you an extra push to improving your physique, especially with the static holds. Are isometrics essential to build muscle? No. But if you can use every possible help to improve your physique and hit more goals at once, why not to use them? Did I say that gymnasts have amazing physique just because of that? No. Like I said, the key is that they use all contractions. As you see, these exercises, especially the static skills, are really sport specific, so obviously a bodybuilder will not get excited about the static skills or straight arm exercises. Especially that in terms of muscle building, the isotonic exercises are the best. However, I would add the quick note that bodybuilders also do pause reps sometimes. On the top of that, while they practice posing, they actually do some isometrics, which also matters a little bit. Another note that, as I said, isometrics can be used in many ways. In this video, I just wanted to highlight the most effective ways to give an extra push to your muscle gains in terms of gymnastics type training, so obviously I won't talk about weightlifting or rehab benefits. I'm sure I will talk about this topic more. I'm planning to make a video about the most effective exercises specifically and how it's worth to do them in your skill training. If you want me to do that, just leave me a thumbs up below. If you're interested in how to get started with the static exercises, you can find beginner videos about the L-sit, shoulder stand, elbow lever, and their combinations on the channel. If you want to build up a shredded physique like gymnasts have from zero, just click the link below, sign up today and get access to all of my programs, tutorials, series and much more. I can also help you personally in the private community in the live Q&As. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did so, please like, share and write a comment what do you want to see in the next videos. If you don't want to miss the new videos, subscribe, hit notifications on and see you next week in the next video.